right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Water Wellbeing Challenge final. I'm Nico Osterberg from Helsinki Think Company, and I'll be your host for this afternoon. The official hashtag of the evening, the afternoon, is hashtag Deep Challenge. So feel free to use that all over the social media wherever you are. This is now the second time that we organize Deep in collaboration with Luke, the Natural Resource Institute of Finland. Last February, we organized Deep Baltic Sea Challenge that aimed to create better policies and sustainable business concepts from the Baltic Sea. Other partners in this fall's challenge are Helsinki Institute of Sustainability Science, HELSUS, and the Finnish Environment Institute, Syke. On behalf of Helsinki Think Company, I would like to thank all the partners and the mentors for making this weekend possible. Let's begin the afternoon with a 2-minute pitch about what is Helsinki Think Company all about. And then after that, I'll tell you more about the challenge. We'll hear keynotes from our jury, and then we get to the pitches. But now, let's welcome Ifeoma Kulmala from Helsinki Think Company to present us.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I hope you've had a really thought-provoking weekend over here. I'm here on behalf of Helsinki Think Company, which is the entrepreneur society of University of Helsinki. What we do is we try to bring academics to action. And the important points for us are curiosity, passion, and making a real societal impact. And for us, entrepreneurship is a great way to do it, and that's why we exist. The ways that we try to promote this aim are our co-working spaces. Here, you've already been here for 3 days, so you're quite familiar with it in Viikki, in Meilahti, and also from next January, Kumpula. These event spaces, co-working spaces, also work as event hubs, and we've had quite many events there over the years. We also organize idea accelerators, of which Deep is a perfect example. I was here last year, so I'm really, really curious to see what you came up with this year. And some of our projects from this year. WIDE was a idea accelerator for open source science. We had a concept design challenge where you had to come up with concepts that would really improve the way science is implemented in all sectors of society, but also a more practical side where coders could engage with materials from the National Library of Finland and try to make Finna, this all-encompassing database, more available for users. Also, Robot Uprising, a story-based robot hackathon, which saw 150 robot enthusiasts gather over a weekend and try to code a robot that could work its way through a special obstacle course. Also, 4Uni, which is our biggest idea accelerator. It's been going on for 2 months now, and next Friday we're having a showcase where we can see what the teams came up in these 2 months. And naturally, you are all very welcome there. You can find it from our Facebook, for example. We also organize smaller idea accelerators, of which an example is Kuntarahoitus Mini Challenge, Municipality Finance Mini Challenge, which will take place in December. Over there, we will work on the topics of well-being in regions and municipalities with Kuntarahoitus, which is the biggest municipal financer in Finland. So there's a real chance to get your ideas to be heard by the people who have the power over these things. So last year it was quite a busy year, actually. We've been working for about 5 years, and this was the busiest year ever. We had almost 8,500 participants in all the events held in our event spaces, 25,000 visitors, non-unique, but still. And we hosted over 700 events, of which over 200 were hosted by our team. And also we saw 264 teams working on different projects within Think spaces. This was my first year, and I have to say that I was really enthusiastic and impressed to see the amount of people who come here to share their ideas. So that was me, and that was my presentation about Think Company. I'm Ivi, or Ifeoma. If you have any questions, feel free to contact. Oh, I guess that was my 2 minutes. But thank you.
All right, thank you, Ifi. And so, in the Deep Water Wellbeing Challenge, we set out to tackle issues of accessibility of water environments through business concepts in the Blue Service track and through policy change and new openings in the Blue Access track. In the final, we have 5 teams that came in with existing business ideas built around water environments, and 3 teams that we built during the weekend from individuals to tackle issues within housing and work, education, and care and social inclusion. All of these 8 teams will pitch their concepts or ideas to us. After that, the jury will take about an hour to discuss whether the teams meet the criteria of the challenge. The 3 best teams from the Blue Service track will win prizes of 1,500, 1,500 euros. The teams in the Blue Access track have a chance to be featured in a publication called Water and Wellbeing, Streams in Research and Practices. We have built a jury with expertise in well-being, natural resources, sustainability, Baltic Sea, and entrepreneurship. As judges for the final, we have Laura Höjer, the content director of Baltic Sea Action Group, and currently on the leave of absence from the post of research director at the Ministry of Environment, as well as Lauri Paloheimo, who is the vice chair of Helsinki Think Company's board, a philosopher, and a co-founder of Panda Training, and Katriina Soini, a senior scientist at Luke, a cultural geographer who has worked on nature's cultural interface and is known to be a promoter of green care. Now we will hear short speeches from all the judges that we have, and the first one up is Laura Höjer to present the Baltic Sea Action Group.
Great to see so much of you here on a beautiful Sunday evening. So, as presented, I work now for the Baltic Sea Action Group, but I'm on absence of leave from the Ministry of the Environment. Actually, I worked almost 9 years at the Ministry of the Environment, and of course it's a very wide scope with dealing with different environmental issues. But a few words about the Baltic Sea Action Group. What are we doing at the foundation? Well, it's an independent foundation that works to restore the ecological balance of the Baltic Sea, to say it shortly. And what we try to do, we try to unite resources of the public, private, and third sectors. Well, if we think of the topic today, if we think, for example, the recreational values linked to water, linked to Baltic Sea, we can all think of last summer and of the massive algae blooms. Very hot water, people want to have recreation, they want to go swimming, but you can't because of the algae blooms at the Baltic Sea. So what we do at the foundation, how we try to fight against the eutrophication of the Baltic Sea. I guess everybody knows the role of agriculture, of the diffuse nutrient load from the agriculture. We try to fight at the foundation, we try to combine the climate change, mitigation of climate change to the protection of the Baltic Sea. We have this sort of carbon action pilot, and to say it shortly, actually the key is the condition of the soil. If we try to make the farming practices so that we take better condition of the soil, we sort of carbon farm soil, more carbon to the soil. And when the soil is in a better condition, it does retain the nutrients better. It does mitigate climate change and retains the nutrients in the soil. So, what I think, background at the Ministry and now at the Baltic Sea Action Group, I think more and more in the future, we have to try to solve these interlinked, wicked environmental problems. We have to see that they are interlinked. Climate change, eutrophication of the Baltic Sea, biodiversity issues. These wicked problems are interlinked, and we should find solutions, try to find solutions that we can tackle these problems together. And try to find out-of-the-box solutions, try to combine different disciplines and try to combine different actors from the public and from the private sector. And I think this is something you are doing today. So I'm really looking forward to hear about your solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for the inspiring speech. And next up, we have Lauri Paloheimo to talk about entrepreneurship as a creator of social impact.
Hello, everyone. Super grateful to be here. So today I'm going to talk to you about how entrepreneurship enables societal impact. And some specifics of my background. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur and a philosopher. I'm actually also an alumni of Deep the Baltic Sea Challenge from the previous one, where we wanted to create drones which collect algae, which can be transformed into biofertilizer. And also in Panda Training, we want to sense-make corporate education analytics in order to improve learning in the corporate context. So, talking about impact, I was asked to do that, but when we discuss about impact, I think usually it refers a lot on the changing the world. And even though I try a lot, I have to be frank, I haven't yet accomplished that, but I'm working to do so. So, which is interesting in a way when we talk about entrepreneurship in Finnish, it kind of goes to say that you are a trier. So in a way, yes, I can consider myself as a trier. And that kind of, because I haven't changed the world and I was asked to give a presentation on making the impact, I had this terrific imposter syndrome this weekend that what should I talk about impact, something that hasn't yet been said before. And then I kind of got into conclusion that we haven't actually defined what an impact is, to be frank. So I started thinking about an impact, what it actually is. And impact usually refers that there is some sort of a cause and effect on how things influence each other. So for example, if I kick a rock, it moves into a certain direction because it absorbs force. Or if I talk about making societal impact and I speak about kicking rocks and it makes you confused and amused, I think so. And because we are usually not referring to people who are kicking rocks with their free time as that they are the impact makers. No, we usually refer to them as time wasters. I think impact is not about that. So then comes back to, okay, what is societal impact? Then comes the question that what is society? And society, it's a tricky thing because yes, we do refer it to as the systems, the economy, the politics, the legislation, whatever's. And then also the culture. I am part of the society. You are part of the society. Everyone you know is part of the society, to be honest. So then if we talk about impacting the society, I think we have to include all of those aspects, both the system and the culture. And when talking about entrepreneurship and how it can impact the society, there is an interesting concept in psychodynamics which is called this dichotomy between being a creator and being a victim. And basically that means that when you have this attitude of a victim, you refer that the world kind of happens to you, you cannot do anything. But then you can have another attitude, which is being a creator. You work with the reality and try to improve it. And I don't think you can be an impactful entrepreneur if you approach the world with the victim mindset. That kind of just leads that the world is stupid and my customers are stupid, so nothing can be changed. No, you have to approach it from the stance of creator. So if we have these entrepreneurs who want to impact society for good, I think, as was mentioned before, the impact goes both to the systems, the business you want to disrupt, the products you want to develop in order to improve things, but also to the invisible part, which is the culture. So basically, you can conspire people by making good products and disrupting businesses, but based on statistics, not many people can achieve that actually. So there is another part of the impact which people do not talk about that much, which is the invisible, the impact on the culture, the impact that you approach the reality from the stance of creator, which enables you to both actually take radical responsibility of what do you do with your time here on Earth. And also there is a network effect that you inspire other people from your creator stance, which can also impact the other people in their networks. And therefore, you can, as a side effect of just trying things out as an entrepreneur, to inspire lots of people who can inspire lots of people to co-create reality together in order to make a world a better place. And that's, for me, what Helsinki Think Company does represent. And I'm really interested to hear what kind of inspiration and conspiration you have managed to create together this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauri. And next, as the last judge, we have Katriina Soini from Luke, and she will tell us a little bit more about how is the Finnish Natural Resource Institute.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. So it's my pleasure to say a few words about Natural Resources Institute Finland, which has been a partner in this deep event. And Natural Resources Institute is working under the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and it's working on sustainable use of natural resources and tries to also promote bioeconomy in the society. And we are altogether 1,300 people working for this organization. Most of us are researchers, but then there are also other people working altogether in 25 locations all across in Finland. And well, I think it's quite a big challenge to work on these topics, given that we should feed almost 50% more people by the 2030, and also provide pure, clean water for all of them, and also be able to increase their energy production. And of course, blue space provides an excellent resource for all of these things. So as a research center, we have organized our work in different thematic programs, and one of them is biosociety. And I see many connections with this event, in particular in this program, and also the team of or focus group on sustainability and well-being bioeconomy, which aims to gain some more value from the immaterial values of the nature, and of course in a sustainable manner, and then also develop, for example, the tools and models and framework to analyze these businesses and also effects of the nature for the human well-being. So these are the things that are also connected to policies and market and businesses that we are also intensively working on. Well, we are a very multidisciplinary organization, so we have a natural scientist, very strong basis in that, but also economists, policymakers. I'm personally a cultural geographer, not the only one, but there are also others, and also social scientists and political sciences and so on. So that's, I think it's a great team to work with, and it's also a great resource for trying to solve many complex problems that we are facing. And traditional research has tried to solve the problems by producing more knowledge, but as we know, it's not enough anymore. So we have to find new ways to use this knowledge and also to engage with the stakeholders, the users of these knowledge solutions, and also the problem owners. And it's exactly what you have been trying to doing here during this weekend, and we can also learn a lot of these methods, how to co-create solutions for the next decades. So bioeconomy is an increasing topic in our institute, and we have a lot of expectations what we can learn about this blue space and how it can be an asset for our well-being on the globe. And in this sense, we are very, very curious to hear what you have found out during this weekend from the well-being point of view. And maybe the last thing I would like to say is that that when we think about well-being, I would say that it's not only the last thing on the top when we have solved all the other things. I think that it's in a way a kind of starting point for everything else. If we are doing well, we are also more able to take care of our environment, and therefore I think it's really a crucial issue how we can get more well-being from the blue space. So thank you all, and looking forward to your speeches now.
All right. Thank you so much, Katriina. And now, finally, it's the time to give the stage to the teams with the pitches. So how this is going to work is that the blue service track, they're going to pitch 3 minutes, and after that, they'll have 5 minutes of roasting questions from the jury. And after that, 3 teams from the blue access track are going to give 6-minute speeches, followed by 5 minutes of questions from the jury as well. And after the pitch, we ask the whole team to join the pitcher on stage to answer the questions. First up, we have freewater.fi, who are solving the ineffective outdoor advertising.
Thank you. Testing. Okay, cool. Hello, welcome. I'm here representing Americ. I'm here representing freewater.fi. So, how many of you want to help the environment, but you don't know how? How many of you want to improve public health and well-being? I'm sure many of you have noticed many of the ads. In fact, there's one right behind me if you look out the window, that are displayed throughout the city. But how many of you actually remember any of these ads? I don't. They're very ineffective. The solution, if you combine advertising with water stations into one product. Now, when an individual uses a reusable water bottle and refills their water at our station, they'll be helping the environment. Because, one, they'll be cutting down on plastic waste by using a reusable bottle, and which also a lot of plastic waste ends up in landfills and then goes into the marine environment, specifically Baltic Sea. And the individual user will be supporting sustainability projects because the ad revenue will go to funding sustainability projects and research. Now, we can have in about a month a pilot where we can co-opt existing water fountains in places like cafeterias and add tablets there, and we can gather user data from that, which we could use to pitch to companies and for partnership. The team is myself. I'm Eric Coles. I study at the University of Helsinki. I'm doing my master's in molecular biotechnology. I'm originally from New York. We have Tiago, you can wave. He is originally from Brazil. He's a computer science guy, and he's also an entrepreneur with his own company. And we have Milda from Lithuania. She's our business developer. So the current market, there's 2 main competitors in Finland. There's JC and Clear Channel. The combined revenue in 2017 was about 55 million euros. They use the traditional model of advertising, which is very ineffective. They have about, you pay per duration, it's roughly 6 hours, and it's in certain locations, and most people don't see it. And they charge roughly 40,000 euros a month for this service. For us, we would have a pay-per-view method where when you refill your water bottle, it's directly, the person is directly viewing the ad. And that's roughly, would be about 6,000 a month we charge. We charge about 50 cents for the service. We target food courts and places that already have fountains to begin with. And then we would focus on making partnerships with cities and local municipalities to get into commuting areas where it's needed more, like metro and airports. I would like to say, if anyone in the audience can help out with this through advice or know any sources of funding or for partnerships, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Question and answers.
All right. Thank you for the amazing pitch. You are a really good performer. So
Thank you.
it's like was very engaging. I'm mostly interested on the pilot that you have upcoming. So what kind of plans you have for that in specific details? Do you have any partners already in Czech? How would you approach it?
I'll leave that to my partner, Tiago.
All right. Regarding the pilot, we already are in talk with a food court in Campi, so we can place a tablet on it. So we are focusing in using the water taps that already existed in there. We have an application that we are developing, and then the application is pretty much ready, and we are just waiting for the final answer from the partnerships that you're talking now.
Yes, thank you for the excellent pitch. I was interested about the clients. How big business potential you find here?
I would really like, ideally, to get into commuting areas. So I would really like to partner with cities in Finland, just because commuters need it the most. And usually a go-to option for most people who are commuting is to buy a bottled water. And that doesn't always get recycled, which causes problems with the marine environment. But in terms of the business environment in Finland, I think there's potential.
Could you tell more about the application? How would it function?
Yeah, so right now, sorry, do you want to? Okay, so right now I picture that when you take a reusable water bottle, you would go to the station, and in exchange for the free water the consumer is given, we don't want to charge any money for the water. The user would see the ad. This way, instead of getting no benefit from current advertisement, I'm sure we all get bombarded by ads from emails to daily life. You'd actually get something back, and it would be contributing to personal well-being. People should stay hydrated. Most people don't drink enough water. And also, reduction of plastic waste. And also, sorry, one more thing. It could be used to promote just sustainability in general, because we could have ads for certain organizations which involved in sustainability.
How would you approach marketing with this? Like, how would you actually make people change their behavior with what they're currently doing? How would you make people care?
Do you want to, or do you want?
We would just put into the kind of really useful places, because when you're in the metro, like during the summer, it's hot, and you're like, okay, I feel like, drinking water, and then like, oh, water station, and then you'll see the ad. And also, as like the ad will play only when the person is refilling the water. So it's not that the ad is just constantly going on. That's why we can also count how many times exactly the ad is reviewed. And also we can see so basically we can get the better data from that. And also I really like the idea that we can put the water stations next to, for example, bikes, because this is when you really need water, exercising. So that would be like the answer.
Maybe one more question. What do you think how applicable this model is in another context, for example, in rural or in developing countries?
Well, for myself, I'm from Brazil, so placing water stations in a country like Brazil, you'd be welcomed as a hero, because at first you don't have a potable water, and joining this the methodology that we have, that you actually drive the sales revenue into sustainability projects, it does mean a lot if you apply this to developing countries, because there is not enough research and either funding in actually investing in a higher quality of water or a well-being overall.
Okay. Final question from my side. You mentioned that you are looking for advisors, funding, partners, I also assume. So what are your biggest questions currently with your approach, and also challenges that you would want to tackle?
I would say that getting into the necessary channels to get into connection with people where we can get permits, because we want to get into areas like the metro areas of public transportation, and it would be good to have people that could assist us with that.
Yes, thinking of the sustainability of the impact here, you talked about the plastic problem,
Yes.
but have you estimated that how much really? I think in Finland not many people buy water in a plastic bottles, but have you estimated how much this would actually then?
Yeah. I can answer if I'm allowed. Yes. Right now, it's about 55% recycling rate throughout Europe of plastics. The panty helps a lot, but there's still more work that can be done.
All right, thanks, Free Water. Next up, we have Baltic seaweed. They are decreasing the nutrient load of the Baltic Sea and increasing the well-being by growing edible seaweed.
This is a little bit different than I thought. Just a minute. Eli. Okay, thank you. Hi everyone. One of the biggest environmental issues at the moment is the nutrient load of the Baltic Sea. This nutrient leaking is caused mostly by food production and agriculture. At the same time, the globe is facing a problem when there is no more free surface to cultivate food to maintain all the population. So we have a solution. Growing edible seaweed in the Baltic Sea would benefit both the water system and the people. Seaweed has a quality of binding harmful nutrients out of the seawater, and therefore it's making the sea clearer and cleaner. And when the sea environment is clean, people are more willing to spend their time there and access to water, and this is improving human well-being. Also, seaweed can be eaten as a tasty human food. Why do we bring all the seaweed all the way from Asia when we have the huge capacity of the Baltic Sea very close to us? So, our idea, which we're going to try with the pilot, is to grow eatable seaweeds on an artificial platforms. These platforms will be placed underwater and they are easily movable. So what we do is we plant pieces of seaweed on these platforms, let it grow over one season, and after that lift it up and harvest. Then we have the material to get processed further on to delicious products, food products. So seaweed can be eaten fresh or dried. And we know that there are already some top restaurants who are craving to get this stuff to their kitchen. Our team consists of me and my partner. We have a background of cultural studies. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put up a customer survey to find out what kind of images people relate to the Baltic Sea, because we think that these images could be more positive than they are now. The funding part. There are several foundations supporting studies around Baltic Sea. We're going to connect them. Later on, we think that also private sector agents and investors can benefit from our invention. For example, fisheries are facing a huge pressure to minimize their emissions. We could maybe give an answer for them to that. We're here to look forward to get new members to our multidisciplinary team. Please contact us. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for
Thank
the
you.
very nice speech, clear and informative. So great work. And I also liked your solution, because I think that it was a kind of win-win solution, benefits both for the humans and the environment. So very potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, what do you think of the potential target group? I heard that you were going to explore this more, but have you any sort of the clients that will be?
Yeah, we have. We've been thinking about 3 kind of users. First are the restaurants and the top chefs who can who can find out what is there to create out of seaweed. Then dried seaweed can be like powdered, and it can be used as a functional food in food products in general. So we would probably, get connected with the restaurants and also think about what kind of products we could ourselves make out of the seaweed. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the excellent pitch. Yes, you were mentioning foundations as a potential funding. Yes, as I'm representing a foundation, I think it sounds like a good idea. Of course, many foundations are funding research more. Maybe it's not so much that you want to emphasize here. What about Business Finland? Have you thought of possibilities there?
Yeah, we heard that they have this. We heard that they have this food product developing program that we could participate, and also your foundation is one of our interests. And we basically want to start with the university-based research and get money for that, and from that on to move more forward to probably profit-making and impact-making solutions.
So for the pilot, we need researchers from university.
Yeah, true. First we have the pilot, and then we maybe make it larger.
Thank you very much for the pitch. I like the concept a lot, especially as I also wanted to focus on the algae, not mostly on the blue-green one. Actually, I have more questions on the specifics. So would you want to plant these platforms more to the open waters or near the coastal line?
Near the coastal line, because then the logistics will be much more convenient, and it will be close to the.
Okay. Do you know about existing technology? Because as far as I understood, most of the algae is right now produced in certain silos in land. So is there an actual reason no one is doing it currently or in the water?
I don't know about the people doing it here in Finland. This exact seaweed is requiring the depth of 1 to 5 meters. Okay. So we think that the living water is better and more interesting option to grow it. Okay. And some of the seaweeds need more solid ground to grow on. We would try to test all these different possibilities and which works the best.
And then my final question on this, sorry. Let's assume, for example, that there is a really hot summer there and lots of blue-green algae comes to the shoreline. Will the crops get, how would I say, toxic at that point? Like, as you said, like they do absorb toxins from the water. So how can you sell it to the restaurants after that?
All the seaweed is boiled before it's used, and that makes it free from bacteria. The problem that the blue algae could affect is that it blocks the sunlight getting deep enough to the water. But we are going to get into these questions when we have the academic group to search for it.
Thank you.
Okay, great. What about the business model? That how much would this cost, and how much you think like the restaurants are willing to pay for this kind of product? Have you estimated?
The restaurants won't be the biggest money giver to us, but we have like side strains during the process. For example, not all of the seaweed can be used for food. There will be leftover, and we think that it could be used as animal food in the bigger scale, or for maybe for Neste oil or something like that. We need to look forward to that. Thank you.
I also want to find a question. It's already time.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Baltic Seaweed. Next up, we have Team ROV, and they are using underwater robots to raise awareness about our oceans through international student-driven projects.
Good afternoon. My name is Iko Nappu, and I'm talking about the idea of how students at schools build underwater robots and how they collaborate with scientists. There is a need in the future, a growing need for skilled people who have natural science education, and there's a growing need of environmental awareness. We have a modern and a future-looking plan where STEAM education plays a major role, key role. When the students at all ages build these underwater remotely operated vehicles or underwater robots or drones, if you will, the global environmental awareness is deepened and many different skills are learned. And when they work together with scientists, they bond to the scientific community. And when they explore with these things, they get to know their own backyards. At the research stations, which I represent, we have already acquired one commercial robot. But at the schools, the students will build their own with kits which our team provides. Actually, I should highlight the thing that this is just a tool, not the purpose, this robot. We are 3 experts, teachers, scientists, with passion for oceans. In the phase 1, we will start the project in Finland, Germany, and China. In the phase 2, we will kind of grow the community to other countries and sell kits to the projects and training, or customize to what the client wants or needs. At the moment, today there's no organization or commercial agent who could provide this kind of a turnkey solution where kits and training are sold together in the US or in Europe. Okay. Yeah, but you can ask questions.
Yes, we certainly do. Thank you very much. This presentation and solution that you provide. I was wondering, do you see any challenges for developing this? I just think about the funding issue, because normally if you propose something for the schools, they easily said we have no funds. What about that one?
We need about 90,000 to fulfill the next, or start the project and get it going for the next 18 months. So
yeah, but then at schools.
At the schools.
Yeah.
This includes kind of, let's say, kits to 5 schools and 2 kits to each school, and all the ingredients and stuff, what you need to build this. And prototype is here. We have workshops. It includes that. It includes technical help for some months, let's say 4 months or was it 6 months, joining an international conference to talk about this concept. And a final seminar where like student groups come from China and Kilpisjärvi and present their what they have been doing. So we will get a lot with this money, but of course, like travel expenses and so will have to be covered by the school. Travel from the school to the research station and so on. But that's when you have something going on. If we get funding, we have one application in Kone. So if we don't get the money, we would appreciate the knowledge and ideas how to make it running really. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the very, very nice speech. I think it's great how you are now trying to get the school children and sort of the educational aspects here also. I would, if you could clarify the impact of this, thinking of the water and the well-being. You said it's a tool actually, but if you could clarify this a little bit more.
What about Kimmo? Would you like to have a word?
Yeah. As Nico. Actually, Nico told you how it works. So when the kids are building this robot, it's a multidisciplinary project. It deepens their skills to do something, measuring, math stuff, design, and also they get information about how the situation is, environmental situation in the ocean and all the aquatic environments. So
it's very important they work with the scientists.
Yes.
It's not just building, it's building with a mission.
With the mission, yes.
Okay.
And the exchange, the ideas with the scientist, and the scientist gives them a mission, and school children gives ideas for the researchers.
And international, they have to communicate with other schools abroad. Also.
Is there anything patentable in your technology?
Well, actually, I can answer the technical questions. No, there is no patent. It's an open source software there based on Arduinos, and that kind of frame is easily done. But actually, no one has, we guess, no time to do it. So that's why we are selling the kits.
Okay, because like I was just thinking, let's assume that you would like incorporate the Chinese people, for example, like to learn this, and then they're like, okay, this is a cool idea, and what if they start to manufacture it like by themselves? It's like if the technology is not patentable, like what is your unique selling point?
Well, I would say that it's the research station infrastructure and working with the research stations, so nobody can easily copy that. We have the connections to US, China, Germany at the moment. They are not easily copied. It's very much culminating into persons. You can't copy persons, right?
And what kind of challenges you see currently you having with like what kind of a help you would want to escalate it further?
We have a ready plan, so and the partners, and so we just need money to get it started, and collaborators to. It's not starting after 18 months. It will go further. So.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for Team Rob. And next up is Our Waters. That is a community-powered platform for sharing data and experiences of water environments.
Hello, I'm Juha from Our Waters. Seas, lakes and rivers has a huge impact on people's welfare. But finding up-to-date information about natural waters is not easy. This lack of information has a negative impact on our actions and relationship to nature. That's why we are trying to make a solution for that lack of information. So we are creating a web and mobile platform to share easily and inspirational way water-related data and experiences. Our primary target is recreational users globally. Our aim is not make profit, but to make better environment and increase well-being. Of course, revenue is needed, and we see development funders and sponsors as a potential source of income. Several steps have been made to define concept and search for alternatives. At the moment, we are focusing to find committed partners, and also we see that we should solve IPR issues at this moment already. In the beginning of next year, we will pilot the platform to get user feedback. Our team consists of 3 active outdoor people with lots of experience in clean tech, data science, and marketing. And by combining our skills, networks, and love for great outdoors, we are sure we can contribute to a sustainable future of our waters. And now we are looking for partners for funding and development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the pitch. What was a bit unclear to me is like what kind of problems you are actually referring. Is it like the algae, or can it be sharks, or like what it is?
In Finland, it can be algae. In somewhere else, it can be sharks.
Okay.
People might be a little bit afraid of going to the nature nowadays. I don't know why. It seems so.
Yes, thank you very much for the very good pitch. I would like to ask about, have you looked at different solutions already existing?
Yeah.
Like I know it's very good, this Lake Wiki, that actually nowadays is also for the Baltic Sea, where you can sort of give your data and...
Yeah, we have seen it and we have analyzed it. It's very good, it's local, and it doesn't have the social connection, how would I call it?
But could you work together, or do you think that there is such novelty in this solution?
Sure, we could work together if it benefits all, of course.
Yes, for example, for the algae sort of monitoring, I think it is quite strong at the moment. But maybe to add up with the social aspects. Yes, thank you.
Wait a second. Actually, like to the funding model mostly. So it's like, what kind of a plan you have with that? Like you mentioned a lot of different sources of how could it happen, but like, what do you consider the most realistic scenario?
I would say, sorry, I lost the English word. The fundings would be the most relevant, I think.
Okay, and how do you get it?
I'm not expert in that. So
Laura already mentioned the Lake Wiki, but what do you think that what is your novelty compared to the existing systems of similar kind? What your novelty? What is your innovation compared to some similar type of systems existing?
Yeah, we are aiming global, and we add social aspect to it, so it will commit people.
Okay, thank you.
What does this social aspect mean in practice?
You can share more. It's a little bit like Facebook of waters. One point of it. You can share your experiences, for example, your photos, your videos, and so on.
So who do you think would be the main clients? Would it be people sailing or going to summer cottage and want to see what is the condition of the water when they are going there, or tourism industry? Or
I think outdoor people, those who live by the waters, who have summer houses by the water, people who go swim, who want to go to natural lakes for swimming, not to beaches.
do you think they would be willing to pay for this service, or you said that it would be non-profit, that it would be free for the sort of the customers?
We don't want to take any user fees.
Okay.
Can you foresee any threats for your idea? What are the main challenges or threats?
Other services, other global services.
So competition.
Competition, yeah.
Okay. Can you make use of it if there is a competition? Good.
Yeah, it's like, especially if the social element is your, what I say, go-to thing, if I understood correctly.
Mm.
So how will you change people's behavior for just sharing on Facebook they had a bad experience with something, and actually going to a very specific platform? How to make people care that much, at least on a global scale?
Yeah, we have also the data in our system, which is easily visualized, and you can find it easily. In Facebook, it's gone.
Okay. And what will you do with that data?
We can share it to anybody. We can make visualizations about state of waters and so on. Of course, it can also be used in scientific purposes, but then we need quite a lot of data.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's from my part. Yeah, and time is up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, our waters. And next up is Suuri Sininen, and they are developing an interactive educational platform of water environments.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Sanna Korkonen, and I'm here to tell you about this fantastic website called Suuri Sininen, the Big Blue. Currently, there is no one web source where you can go to find information about the aquatic nature. And this can be a problem. For example, if you walk along a seashore and you find a really nice looking seashell, what do you actually do after that? Where you go to find the information what you have actually found? Or if you're a teacher and you need background information for your lectures, there's actually a huge need for this one website that is user-friendly and has a lot of information in it. And luckily, we have a solution for you and for everybody else, and it is called Suuri Sininen. This is actually like an aquatic guide to life on the aquatic environment. It has material from the kindergarten level to up to like university students to even an expert level. Best thing about this is that it's free and it's massive. So if we think about the seashell that you found, it's really easy to actually go to this website, go to species identification, and then you will have there nice illustrations, nice photos, and identification keys to actually identify your finding. Another big part of this platform is actually interactive games. And this is part of the education plan currently, that this sort of thing is actually promoted, and we want children and students to be engaged, especially with these different types of games. And there are several different games in here. There's also quizzes for different stages, and even a coloring book for the younger ones. Currently, we're further developing this course and this website to include more quizzes, more information. We're contacting possible collaborators, and actually next year we're applying for funding for 1 or 2 people to actually focus on developing this website. We as a team are a group of people from environmental background. Most of us actually work with the aquatic environment. What brought us together was the desire to actually show what lurks behind and beneath the waves. So if you have any nice ideas how to further develop this website, any hints on collaboration or where and how to actually apply for funding, we're open to any suggestions and very thankful for that. So thank you for being such an attentive audience.
Thank you very much for the nice and clear pitch. For me, it's like, I don't know why I didn't get it, but what is the revenue model?
Well, we have to think about the revenue model a little bit, but there are possibilities for business like teacher education, like which uses this material, customized courses, customized content, and so on.
Yes.
For example.
Because currently this is all available for free for anyone. And actually you can just use this, what is online now, as a basis for an aquatic environment course. So you can just give the course based on this. All the material already exists.
Yeah, the structure is there already. So.
Yes, thank you very much. I could see, for example, for our foundation, we have this sort of Baltic Sea Action Group, Baltic Sea schools, and we would really like to use these kind of games. But you already answered what I was thinking, that who is going to fund this, because you need continuous sort of, with the website, somebody has to be keeping it up all the time, so it needs this funding. But yes. Maybe what I could, maybe a bit similar question than previously. Now we have this lajitieto, I can't remember it in English, but we have, but you know it, Lajipistefi, and yes. They have these already, so you should link with that at least.
It's linked.
It's linked. Great.
And I've been talking with them, and we want to collaborate with them.
Yeah,
citizen science and so on.
As long as the links stay the same, so that somebody doesn't have to like go through all the species all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking. I had to say that we have here like lots of interactive material. What is fun way to learn, so it's different than lajitieto.
Yeah.
That's a massive. This is special.
Thank you for the pitch. I was wondering, because I heard today from the news that there are some concerning results about the digital education. So they have found out that it's pupils do not necessarily learn that well when they are using all kind of digital means and games and so on. So if this will become more and more an issue in the future, so how adaptive is your solution in that phase?
Yes, It is actually very adaptive, and I agree on that, using digital tools in teaching, but it's actually required from the teachers at the moment. They have to do that. It's in the educational plan. I see that this one you can actually practice on species identification, so it's very informative, so it's not all just plays and quizzes and games. But for teachers, for example, this is a really good source because we're going to put just one title there and underneath all the quizzes and games that you can use. So when you're teaching a school group, and some of them are always faster than the others, you can just show them, go here, and you can use those games now and do them.
We can do different levels
Yes.
of quizzes. And we can, of course, make a book, paper version. So
Yeah.
no problems.
Yeah.
And this website inspires people to go out and enjoy the nature and the water. Yeah.
Yeah, besides the revenue model, so what are the, how would I say, biggest questions and challenges you would want to tackle to actually make this happen the way you visualize it?
Want me to answer? I think currently, so far it's been a one person's hobby, not mentioning names, and somebody's idea, and that takes a lot of time because this is a massive platform with a lot of information for everybody. So now we just need some money to make it complete because we're still lacking information on the freshwater side, for example. After that, it will be just maintaining the site and maybe collecting different tasks for students that we can include there, some more material.
More entities like marine archaeology, geology, history. It's not only about nature.
Okay, thank you for the pitch.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Suuri Sininen and the whole Blue Service track for the great pitches and the great, really interesting concepts. Next, the next three teams are from the Blue Access track, and first of those is Blue Camps, who are starting a sustainability camp where the children can interact with the water environment.
Hi everyone, my name's Stu and I'm from the Blue Camps team. A problem we identified is that in today's world, many people live their lives without a real connection to water-based environments. This is particularly the case in urban settings. We believe this comes from a lack of access and practical involvement in these environments, and this is particularly the case in educational environments. This results in an unsustainable use of water environments because of this lack of connection, and there's also a missed business opportunity and potential here. Our solution is a theme camp where we will involve young teens from the ages of 13 to 15 in these environments in a practical and educational way. We have targeted this age group because we believe that this is an age where young people begin to think about their relationship with the world, the environment, and their future. Activities at the camp will aim to combine education and fun, promoting problem solving and thinking about issues of sustainability. An example of this would be participatory art processes where children are involved with creatively using waste plastic materials. This is based on research that hands-on creative processes are really good for not only for learning but also for creating discussion around issues. The aim here would be to naturally promote a discussion about the problem of plastic waste and getting children to think about their own solutions for this. Another example of an activity would be to introduce children to aquaculture and fishing. We want to show the importance of aquatic environments in food production and also involving local fishermen and other careers in showing the livelihoods connected to these aquatic environments. We want to inspire children who are interested in science and natural sciences, and also getting them to think about their future careers. This is also something we want to bring back into the classroom. There's potential for small aquaculture projects in the classroom. We want to create a learning experience outside of the classroom in the natural environment, and then this is something that the children can take back into their more traditional education. The main thing we want to create is a connection to the environment that they can take back into their everyday lives, a sense of responsibility, and emphasizing individual agency and the potential to be actors for change. What makes our camp special is that we want to make this universal and accessible to all children, no matter their economic, social, or academic background. We believe that the concept could be applied not only to aquatic environments, but also to other natural places such as forests or agriculture. This would make the scaling up of the initiative to a national or even larger scale more logistically possible, as people are not necessarily as close to aquatic environments as they would be to other. We want to participate with higher education, involving students of all levels in volunteering and leading these activities. They would benefit from a practical experience working with children and also being involved in the environment. We want them to pass their knowledge and passion for sustainability on to the younger generation. In order to implement this, we want to interact with multiple stakeholders. This would include government, both state and regional. This would be firstly for applying for grants, and also for consulting them about implementing structural change in the education system. We would also be in contact with environmental institutes, such as the ones represented today. And this would be also for funding, but also for scientific expertise about how the activities could function in a sustainable way with the environment. We also want to participate with worldwide and local NGOs in terms of the practical implementation of the activities and with funding. And here's an estimation we had from where the funding and support would come from. I was also just thinking about hearing the other presentations, how this could collaborate with something like the Siri Suunanen or with the robot project, and this could be a potential for activities at the camp. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the pitch. What was a bit unclear for me, so what is the contribution of each other, you and also your background?
Okay, so I study geography. And
Studying consumer economics.
Okay.
I study environmental engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It was very clear pitch. It was very nice to follow, and you are covering all sort of the aspects of sustainability, I think, here. But still, thinking of the funding, for example, you had the Ministry of the Environment mentioned. That would be very difficult, even though it's very important work would be, but to find funding for this kind from the ministry would be tough.
Okay.
I have to say that. And then there are already many different kind of camps existing. So have you looked at sort of what kind of competition, I said you could sort of scale this to forests, but I think there are sort of many on that sector already. What is the novelty of your camp idea that it would?
Well, the novelty in our aspect, we found mainly international camps and not something that is combined or intertwined with mandatory schooling we have in Finland. So basically this would be building this as a part of what is learned, for example, in biology class. During a couple of days, taking the pupils out from school and placing them in these campsites like Vesijärvi has Siikaniemi, and just this practical educational approach.
So you mean it would not like be like a summer camp on a summer holiday, but it would be more in sort of in the schoolwork already
and
existing
that,
inside the
exactly.
Okay, okay, this is interesting.
Yes.
Related to that, I'm wondering how are you going to sell this idea to the teachers, and we also have very tight educational programs that the schools have to follow. So have you any thoughts of this?
Well, I think this weekend that we have has been quite a short time to go into very, very deep specifics, but basically it's on playing with the actorship of the students and involving them more, and highlighting the importance of involving the children in action, and in this way kind of deepening the educational aspect of or their learning.
Yeah.
Unless you have more.
I have another question related to the problem identification. So, what do you think? Why it has happened before? We have had all these water, rivers and lakes and sea forever. So, why it has happened?
I think living in an urban environment, people don't really come into contact with these. Like they are there, but particularly where I'm from the north of England. It's very industrial, post-industrial setting. There are water environments out there, but they're not experienced by a lot of people, particularly people disadvantaged and coming from urban environments.
Just one hint, thinking of the ministries, you should involve the Ministry of Education there. I think that would be actually more of a target group here. But then thinking of, you said that it would be equal and accessible for all. So then you think about the price. So you think that you get funding or sponsors so much that it would be free for the schools? Or what do you think of the business model?
That would be the aim, yeah. Because we wouldn't want it to be something where it's only a few privileged people going to these camps. We'd want it to be a policy implementation at a structural level, like within the education system, I think. Would be the ideal.
What plans you have for the pilot?
We didn't come up with the pilot in the Blue Access program.
Okay.
We were looking more at policy implementation and that sort of thing, rather than a business-based solution.
All right. Yes.
Nowadays, there is, of course, a lot of support for this kind of things, but on the other hand, there is also a demand for some evidence-based, that it's really effective to bring students or pupils to the blue space. Do you have any plans for measuring the well-being benefits to? Well,
from the aspect of creating the from a sustainability point of view, the actorship is very important. So we want to emphasize that, and as a result, the respect for the nature and.
I think by definition that is quite hard to measure.
Yeah,
the sort of
but there
felt
is
experience.
Yeah, but there is
connection.
evidence of actorship in driving change.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stu, and the whole team. Next up, from the Blue Access track, we have the navigators, who will improve economically disadvantaged kids' access to water environments through sailing.
Hello, my name is Christina, and our team is the Navigators. And the idea that we came up with this weekend is called Everyone on Board. So basically improving economically disadvantaged kids' access to sailing, and through sailing to different water environments. So the problem we focused on was sailing. The fact that sailing is quite exclusive hobby or sport, and it's perceived, at least here in Finland, as quite elitist. I don't know about other Nordic countries, but I would assume it's probably similar. So there's quite limited access for kids to actually experience sailing if they don't have the resources, or their parents or families don't have the resources to give these experiences to their kids. Here's a good price example from Espoon Pursiseura. For example, a 4-day sailing course is about 209 euros, which is quite a lot of money. So the solution we came up with is to connect the sailboat owners with the economically disadvantaged kids. And we were thinking about doing this by firstly making connections with the relevant actors. So we were thinking of using the expertise and the volunteer programs that these organizations such as Mannerheimin Lastensuojeluliitto or Pelastakaa Lapset ry already have in place. Then sailing clubs, obviously, and primary schools in order to reach these kids. And we were thinking of focusing on primary schools in more maybe lower socioeconomic areas. And the target group is 7 to 12-year-old kids. We're thinking of doing this by having this Give It a Go Day, where the kids or the kids who are interested in taking part in this program could get a chance to go to the sea with these boat owners and the boats, and actually learn about the environment and the water and the seascape there. Because sailing is a skill where you have to know so much about how the wind affects the waves and so on. There's a lot to take in at the same time to make the boat actually move. And we want to give this experience to these kids as well, so that they can actually learn about the environment with all the senses. And also like just more practical maintenance stuff of like maintaining a sailboat, which is probably nice for the private boat owners as well, to have like few extra hands helping out. And then feedback, just in order to improve the program, obviously, and also evaluate the actual impact that this might hopefully have on the kids, as well as on the boat owners as well. They might have interesting insights as well. We identified some obstacles, such as lack of interest by the private boat owners, which is quite crucial to make this program happen. And then some basic safety issues, because at the end of the day, this is taking place at the sea. So there's some risks, obviously, involved that we have to take into consideration. And then difficulties in creating these partnerships. So between the organizations, the sailing clubs, and the primary schools. However, it's really cost efficient because we're not creating anything new here. We're using the old resources that are already existing, being the sailboats, and just using them in new creative ways. And there's a lot of future potential as well. We were even thinking about like institutionalizing it into the Finnish curriculum, so that they would have like a sailing day part of the education plan. And obviously including more sailing clubs. Obviously we would start off with like 1 or 2 sailing clubs, but hopefully as more people would get interested, they want to join, and then we could expand to other areas and contexts in Finland, but also hopefully in other Nordic countries as well. It's really easy to implement basically anywhere. So yeah, we're basically looking for partners at the moment who would be interested in taking this initiative further. So if you're interested, or if you know any actors that could be interested in this initiative, please let us know after the pitch. And other than that, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the very clear pitch. I have to say, I'm really impressed if you have come up with this idea in this one weekend, because I think it has so many very great, thinking, for example, the social aspect of the sustainability. It's really of great value, your idea. And you were saying that sailors, maybe we think that they are a little bit elitist, but what we can see at the Baltic Sea Action Group, there are a lot of people who want to do their pro bono work, that they really want to do good things. So I think there is potential.
Yeah, that's what we also heard from the mentors we talked with, that there actually maybe could be interest among the boat owners.
I was maybe, and then thinking of the Baltic Sea Action Group, as you said, you're looking for partners, people who are interested. For sure, this would be something that we could be interested also. But then I think those are safety issues. I would hear more about them, because I think they could be a little bit crucial.
Yeah, so that's why we wanted to involve organizations such as Mannerheimin Lastensuojeluliitto or Pelastakaa Lapset, who are training volunteers, for example, to hang out with children. So there could be an adult who kind of is not only concentrating on the sailing part or showing the sailing, but also looking a little bit after kids. What happens, like with the kids 7 years old, for example, so that it wouldn't be only one adult with maybe 3 kids, but there would be also like support from these other organizations.
Yeah, I have to admit I love the concept, as I'm fond of sailing and also a certain closet socialist, so it's just beautiful, I think. And especially like what I was thinking about, what would just make sense is that if you have even, let's say, 5 to 10 of the most, how would I say, well-off sailing club members posting on their Instagram and LinkedIn that, yeah, they are doing this social service for the kids who are not that well-off. After that, it's a moral imperative for everyone else to do the same thing. That's just how it works. Yeah. That's called philanthropy. So yeah, and also what I was also thinking about, that could it make sense that if, for example, there could be some sort of a calendar system that even though the boat owner might not be able to take the tour, but let's say, because most of the time the boats are just there, so that for the free time, for example, that someone else, let's say from the sailing club, could take the kids on the sea, or someone else who has specific training for such thing. Of course, then the ownership becomes an issue, and also that can you have the insurance and stuff like that, but something to think of.
Yeah, definitely. Depends probably on the boat clubs, how they work and what kind of people are involved and what kind of relationship are inside the boat clubs, how close they are maybe. Or
I was thinking about the impacts, and for sure that it has a great impact and positive impact for the clients or the children or youngsters who are able to do it. And you also mentioned that probably it might bring some new insights to the sailors as well. But can you think of any other impacts on your idea, for your idea?
Like social impacts?
Yeah, social.
Well, the whole idea kind of started from the fact that, okay, this big thing that, okay, we have to change our values, a relation to environment in order to, or kind of change the way how we see the environment, how we care about it. So, and these connections are created already in very quite early childhood, or they impact throughout the life. So kind of we thought this could be in a sense a way to kind of strengthen the children's connection to nature, and maybe even, depending maybe on the scale and how many times this happens, impact then the sense of stewardship or care for nature in the older age.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you think of any other client groups that might benefit from this idea, or suitable to expand your innovation?
Probably anybody who doesn't have similar access. So it's not only children or like people with disabilities or something, like also this kind of different.
Yeah.
So thinking of the competition, are there similar solutions already?
We were looking into it, but we didn't find anything, at least.
No free sailing.
No, at least not in Finland.
Okay, so just a final thought from my side, that what could be interesting, for example, that let's say the next summer, like you could actually make the sailing clubs compete with each other, that let's take the kids to Sweden for like an amusement park or something like that and have a race or something like that to just get like everyone on board at like a very brief paces, something like that. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then as the last team from the whole challenge, we have Green Office, and they are building natural workplaces for people.
Hi, I'm Suresh, and I want to ask everyone in this room, how many of you feel stressed at work? And do you feel like going out to get some fresh air while you are working? Yes. Okay, so do you feel stressed like this? And do you also enjoy being in the nature? Okay, so study shows that also only having a 1 hour of walk out in the nature helps to reduce your stress level. And while we are working on the deep challenge, here is Anna feeling stress, and also having a 10-minute of break where we went out to get some fresh air. It reduced our stress level, and we had more energy to work on the challenge again. So, according to National Institute of Finland of Occupational Health, 25% of the employees in Finland feel burnout at some point. And stress level not only disbalance your working life and personal life, but also it causes premature death. In fact, it increased the premature death by 2% when you are having more stress. And in an office building, in a closed walls, the air quality may not always be the good. Recently, we have been finding the mold problem in office in the buildings in Finland. So in the last 2 days, we have been thinking, what can we do to bring the employees more close to the nature? So we found a solution to that. Why not use shipping containers as an office? So why shipping containers? Because shipping containers has a very strong structure, and today in the world there are more than 30 million shipping containers, and it is also very easy to move from one place to another. So from a shipping container like this one, we will remodel and redesign the containers to look like this. This is just a basic structure of a shipping container, and where we will put the furnitures and also the basic facilities like electricity and internet. And the main thing about the shipping container, the electricity used in the shipping container will be from the solar panels, so it's completely green energy. And a standard shipping container has an area of 20 meters square, so approximately we can fit 8 employees, 8 people to work in the office space. And we roughly calculated how much it's gonna cost to turn one shipping container to an office, and we found that it can cost around 20,000 euros per unit, which will contain also the kitchen and the toilet for the people working there. And in the beginning, we are thinking to rent the shipping container, and there are many companies in Finland which are providing it as a rent to the people, because as you can see in the construction site, they use shipping containers as the office. And there are also other companies which are providing open office space. So what makes us so special? Because none of the companies provide this kind of office space where you can see we will move the office shipping container near to the water source, close to the nature, where the people working in there will have more access to the nature and feel like they are working in the nature to lower the stress level of the people. And we are a team of accountant and a sustainable building engineer, and we are very excited to work in a green office. So are you excited to work in a green office? So at this level, we are trying to, in the first stage, we are trying to look for the startup companies who don't have their own office space, so that we can target them in the first stage, so they can have an office space to work here, work in our green office. And then in the second stage, we are targeting the companies which want to improve the health, well-being of the employees, so that they can come and work in the green office. And we are also looking for funding and legal advice to get the land permit to establish our green office. Thank you.
Okay, so great pitch, and have to admit, I think this is brilliant idea. Like really, really brilliant. Like some background, I used to serve in the Navy, and I know that there is lots of nature all over the place. Like when you travel on the sea, and when you make a cargo and work it as an office, you get to enjoy this. Like very, very clever of you. Have you considered like getting the funding mostly from the private sector? For example, cargo companies, they are loaded with money, or even construction companies, or what is your first go-to strategy with this?
We start with the Finnvera loan.
Yeah.
And then we have we have money, and we can use that a little bit. So
Okay.
that way.
Great.
Yes, thank you very much. And I first have to thank you for the excellent pitch. I think it's very nice that you were involving the audience also. So I think it was very lively pitch. And for the final pitch, I think it's good to have a lively pitch. It was really nice, and a really novel idea, very impressive. Actually, for our foundation, we could move to that sort of container to work by the sea. So I was also impressed. But then I was thinking of the environmental issues. It's of course important that it's good connection to the office, that you have metro line or something. So then if you have put it somewhere, how it's easy that people get easily to the work office also.
Yes.
That it's not in a remote place.
Yes, we're trying to establish the office in near to the sea line, so that people can enjoy the water environment and the nature also. But it is also accessible, so not so far from the city, where people can have easy access to go there to do their remote work.
And then air quality. So you suggest that the air quality is so much better, that it's good to use. That is a problem of the air quality indoors.
Yes, because recently there has been like mold problem in the buildings. So in the green office, everyone will have the fresh natural air. So that's the solution to lower to make the people working there more fresh, feel more fresh.
Yeah, I was just considering that in the long term, could you in theory also have those cargo offices like on the actual ship, like on the, what would I say, on the top of it, and like create these certain naval startup ecosystems which would just travel around the Baltic Sea between different capitals?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Amazing.
Okay, do you think that this model could have some other impacts for the people, that change their behavior, not only prevent them getting burned out, but are there any other positive effects that you could foresee?
Do you want to answer? Yes. At this 2 days, it was very intense. We were mostly focusing to establish the office in a container, so we didn't have time to look further to apply the same idea to other context.
Yeah.
But do you have something to add on that?
Yeah, maybe difficult question.
Yeah, so as actually our foundation is now thinking of moving, so I have been thinking a lot of this office.
Okay.
So it was a good timing. But then, of course, nowadays you need so good all these access to sort of Wi-Fi or whatever
Yes.
connection. So that could be a little bit problem if you go out to the sea. But there's a challenge that you have to be able to construct all the sort of modern requirements that the
Yes.
offices nowadays have. But do you think it's a challenge?
I think that will be a challenge. Like yesterday we were talking, or on Friday we were talking to one of our mentor, and she was telling us about the IT security challenge in the open office. So, and I think that's something we cannot answer at the moment because we are not from the IT background. But that's the challenge we also want to solve in the future in the open office.
Okay, one final question from my side, actually. Actually, two. It's like, A, what is your background? And B, let's assume that I'm an owner of a cargo company and I'm like, this is a brilliant idea, but like, what would I need you guys to do in order to do that? Like, why I wouldn't just steal the idea and just do it myself?
Well, I'm accountant and studying sustainable development, and you can stole it. I don't mind if it helps you, like, and your coworkers. So it's fine.
Maybe one more. I was thinking.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to all the teams for the great pitches and the really, really inspiring ideas. And once again, we want to thank also the jury, all the mentors and all the partners in this challenge already. Next, what is going to happen is that the jury is going to retreat to a conference room to evaluate all the teams. And the rest of us can take it easy for a while, go upstairs to our co-working space, enjoy some snacks and drinks, maybe even mingle a little bit, talk with each other, amazing. And at about 5 o'clock, the jury will be there upstairs to announce the winners. Thank you.